The title Weight on My Shoulder is a double entendre, right? Because weight on my shoulder is about societal pressures weighing heavy on you or an internal conflict that you're having with yourself. And then that internal conflict in the story is actually weight. And I think that we have all dealt with weight issues in the past, right? Whether it's you want to gain weight or lose weight, our weight is always somewhere in the back of our mind. So the idea of this story really resonated with me to create a character who had the societal pressures of weight and the internal conflict of dealing with their own weight when an amazing opportunity is presented to them. I've always considered myself a storyteller. I'm really good at painting the picture. But in my professional work, I was working as a production manager, which was a lot more operational. And I wanted to exercise my creative muscles. But when I went to look for those opportunities, I was often told that I didn't have enough experience. And so instead, I said, you know what? Let me see if I can find a program that would help me really get a better understanding of the film world and production. And so I found the San Francisco Film School, and they had a 3-month workshop where you pretty much do a film from beginning to end. And I wanted to do that program because I really wanted to learn all the different roles and all the different positions that were in filmmaking to figure out where I best sat in that world. The film would be 6 minutes, and you would be the writer, producer, director, and video editor of the film. So, an experience to say the least. During the course, I had to be super conscious of all the multiple hats that I would wear and being sure not to wear all the hats at once. I had to compartmentalize what hat I was wearing and when. The first hat would be the writer hat. And so for the first 2 weeks of the course, we had to write a script. Originally, I wanted to do a documentary, but with only 6 minutes to make a film, I knew that I wasn't going to be able to convey the information properly. So I decided to instead do a narration. Now, I had tons of ideas of the type of narration that I wanted to do, but at that point, I didn't really fully understand that in order for you to really convey, the idea, that you may need a lot of scenes, you might need a lot of shots. And so the first idea I had was to write about a creative who wanted to enter the corporate world. But then my instructor informed me that it's a little bit too complicated to do in 6 minutes. So I drew from another personal experience, which was my weight journey. At my heaviest, I was 220 pounds, and throughout the years, I lost a lot of weight. But even within that journey, I still didn't feel like I was good enough. I didn't feel like I was fit enough. You see all of these magazines and all these influencers with six packs, and I was like, well, I don't got a six pack. Who's going to want to use my services? But I still struggled in that journey because I never thought I was fit enough to share who I was with the world and to take pictures and to offer advice. I said I didn't have, a six pack, and so why would anyone listen to me? And so I decided to write about a character who was a fitness influencer who gets this amazing opportunity to be on the cover of a fitness magazine, but didn't feel secure about their weight. I've written copy for content before, but I never wrote a script. And a script is a completely different ballgame. It's a different format, it's a different structure. You have to learn how to write action, you need to learn how to write dialogue, you need to learn how to put in montages, or if you want to put in B-roll. There's all a format to it. And again, I had 6 minutes to write a film. And usually one page of a script is more or less about a minute. And so not only did I need to learn the format, but I needed to know the structure because I had to be concise. But even being concise, you want to tell a good story. So, it's very challenging to do both at the same time. But, I learned a lot within that time frame because you're really starting to make this character and the story come to life. So it was a great experience writing a script. Even though my writing hat wasn't completely off, I still had to have my producer hat on. I had to confirm the shooting dates. I had to put together a shooting schedule. I had to put auditions out, and I had to find a crew. Now, what I loved about the program, which I didn't realize at the time, is that your classmates would also be your crewmates. And so we all worked on each other's sets in various different roles, whether it be a cinematographer, production assistant, script supervisor, gaffer, or grip. We all had the opportunity to see how those roles were and to see if those are roles that we wanted to do in the future. So that was great. But even with that being said, I knew that I was going to need a production assistant and that I was going to need a cinematographer. And so my filmmate Cynthia, she invited me to a Facebook Bay Area filmmaker group. And there I found my production assistant Demona and I found my cinematographer Nathan.
Hello, my name is Jimona and I am from Brazil, but I do live in the Bay Area for the last 5 years. I jump on weight on my shoulders to work as a production assistant. I do work with film production or modeling, so you can find me either behind or in front of the camera. And I think what draw me into entertainment, I always loved music, videos, and movies. And I think it's because you can visually tell stories, visually show emotions, and I think that is a beautiful way of expressing yourself and expressing these different stories.
Now, I knew that I needed a cinematographer because I knew that they would substantially elevate the story of the film. And I also needed someone to bring ideas to the table. Now, Nathan was already a videographer and he had several documentaries under his belt, but he wanted more cinema for his portfolio. So it was the perfect match. I sent Nathan tons of inspirations from other films and filmmakers, and I was really looking for a silky look. I wanted vibrant colors, and the film has some drama to it, but then also it has this comedic relief. And so we really wanted to have the ability and the flexibility to play with light. And so he suggested the Black Magic Pocket Cinema 6K camera, which is really good because it's a relatively inexpensive camera to use, but you can still get that cinematic feel that you're going for. And then honestly, everything else was provided by the school, which was amazing because a lot of programs don't do that. So they had grip to offer us, they had tons of lighting, they had other lenses that we can use. So it was relatively easy to allocate equipment resources for the film. And I rented the Blackmagic camera and all the lenses, and that was about $500 to rent. Now, when I was choosing actors, especially my main actor, I was looking for a Black woman because the story was an experience that was close to my heart. Because me as a Black woman, I don't see a lot of Black producers, Black directors in the field. And I had this opportunity to make a difference and hire a Black actor. But not only that, there's been so many times where I've been told no. And so it's really hard to feel like you can be something when you don't see it. And so for me, this was a great opportunity to see maybe possibly what other people didn't see in the actors that I decided to cast for the film. Before we start, I just wanted to also say that I really appreciate both of you taking your time to do these auditions. I know it's not easy, and I know that, it does take sacrifice out of your schedule to do that. And you both are here because whether it was your skills or your tenacity, you deserve to be here. And whether it's this role or it's any future roles, how you present yourself is it does leave an impact. So I appreciate both of you being here, and I don't take that for granted. Kamiko Cachet played Debbie, the main character, and Shaquarius Calloway played Reality, her best friend. So when I was going through the casting, I met Kamiko. And when I met Kamiko, Kamiko was such a bright light. And she really embodied the character of Debbie. Because Debbie is optimistic and she's confident. And from the moment that I met her, I just saw Debbie. I saw this very optimistic young woman who was very hopeful of opportunities, but was also very confident. And I think that was the conflict for Debbie, right? She's overly confident, very optimistic, but obviously there's something underneath the hood that we're not quite sure about. And when I auditioned with Kamiko, she just nailed it, and I didn't have to give her too many directions. And I just loved the way that Kamiko read the lines, and she took really well to direction. And I knew that I would be really able to work with her on set. And she was really flexible in that way.
Acting has been that thing that I've always wanted to do. It's been the thing that has been on my mind constantly, that I keep just trying to put off and put off and put off. And, I just decided that now's the time. Either you're going to do it or you're not going to do it. But I had to shut that little voice up that was in the back of my mind, nagging me over and over and over. Do the thing, do the thing, do the thing.
And then Shaquarius, she's a natural. I found her on an actor casting site, and she had her reel, and honestly it was only a couple of lines, and I was like, oh, okay, Shaquarius, we see you.
My name is Shaquarius Calloway. I am from Sacramento, California, and I play the role of Reality in Weight on My Shoulders.
And I kind of instantly knew that she was going to play Reality, but I still auditioned several people just to be sure.
I became involved in this project after I submitted on casting networks, got the audition, and the rest is history.
Now, I was looking for a male to play the producer role, but then my filmmate Cynthia, she was in all of the auditions with me, and she was playing the producer. And honestly, she did the best producer role than any of the other actors that I auditioned. And so I asked her if she can do it, and she agreed. And there we have it. We were casted for the film.
All right, Ariel, you ready?
She's in character now. Wait, where's the water? Let me splash you.
Lights, camera, action. It's production day, and I'm officially putting my director hat on. Now you can plan, but all the magic happens in this moment. So I shot the film in my apartment, which is small and awkwardly shaped. But hey, this is filmmaking, and you got to do what you got to do. So I rented a U-Haul truck to put most of my furniture in, and then I also stored equipment in there as well. But then the day just started going. Like, it was just going. I didn't even have time to brief my cast or anything. Everybody just started coming. But luckily, I had my assistant director, Leopold, there, and he was the one who was answering questions, answering phone calls, letting the crew know where to set up, and just directing everybody on set, which is really what the assistant director does.
So the role I was originally assigned to in Weight on My Shoulders was that of director. Triana and I talked about it, about what it means, and we started to do some research into it. However, upon later discussion, it seemed best that she would be fitted to do the director role. So then I was assigned to be an assistant director. I didn't know anything about that when I was originally cast or hired. An assistant director, turns out he pretty much runs the whole crew, makes sure everything's on schedule, and has his hands in every single element, which is very intimidating, especially for someone that has no knowledge or experience of film and how it works. But it's something that I was definitely up to the challenge of accomplishing.
So that gave me time to connect with the actors and connect with my cinematographer to make sure that we were all on the same page. But then it just, it was wild. And, I would have loved to have been a little bit more organized and have things go another way. But, the adrenaline was pumping, and I think we did a lot of great things, right? But it was definitely crazy because I created a shooting schedule, with all the shots in mind, but I didn't take into consideration like how long all these shots would take to set up, because the lighting was changing constantly. We had all different types of lighting, and then we did some shots outside. We did a shot in the alley. We had to watch for cars. We wanted to get the sunset. It was just a lot going on. So all of those different shots that I created I definitely underestimated it, but luckily I had the crew there and they held it down. And then as far as my directorial debut, it kind of went flat because I was reading some of the action lines to my actors. And my instructor later told me that, that's not what you do. So, oops, because it distracts the actors. Sorry. But other than that, it was such an amazing experience because everybody was just such a huge support. Everybody was on set, on deck, ready to take on whatever role they needed to take on, and we got it done. So, love being on set. Great experience. Thank you all so much. I just want to say that, what was most important to me about this whole entire thing is that people are here who are passionate and who have drive, and it just showed so much on this set today. Like I want to cry in ways that, but I am so appreciative of all of you. This is a relationship that will last for the end of time. So I appreciate all of you, and thank you so much for staying late. Don't get that.
So sorry.
We didn't really stay late.
We'll cut it out. We'll cut it out.
Cut.
Right. Thank
So
you
we
all.
start again. Marker.
Weight on my shoulders, scene.
Wrap
Trees,
Wrap
wrap up speech, take 2.
I can't stand none of y'all motherfuckers. All right, we're good. So once I come up with the first draft, I went back to school, I share it with my filmmates, and then we all get critiqued on our films. And that's where I realized that there were gaps in the story. And the best way for me to fill those gaps were for me to hire a sound engineer and also to add graphics into the film. And so I reached out to my friend Jessica because her partner, Jermaine, is a sound engineer. And so I asked Jermaine if he would work on my film, and he said that he was totally down and interested. And, the story goes from there.
Being the post-production audio producer means that my work doesn't come in until the video is pretty much done being edited. So in post-production, it's kind of hard to do the work you need to do if the film is still being created. So once everything's shot and the basic editing is there, that's when I show up and then I help with the various aspects of post-production, with the mixing and balancing and sound effects and dialogue mixing and ADR and scoring, sound effects, Foley, things of that nature.
Now, sound is a whole different ball game, and I never realized how important sound is to a film. And I started looking at a whole bunch of films, specifically Zoolander, which I recommend everybody watch because the sound effects in that movie are crazy.
Do not be distracted by the beautiful celebrities.
And so I put together my own draft of popular music so he can get a feel of what I was trying to go for.
But because we were working on a budget and we don't have the budget to license these big time songs, we basically created our own original music for the film, and that required a lot of collaboration between Tree and I. So she came with the ideas, and we felt the best way to go about it would be to do the editing in person. So I was able to pick her brain and to understand the emotion and what she was going for in the film. So I think doing the project collaboratively helped us get closer to a finished product without having revisions or go back and forth. Yeah.
Made an original.
The best part of the experience for me was understanding all of the roles that are involved in filmmaking. Previously, I would want to do it all. You know, I'm quite greedy like that. I like to have my hands in everything. But in the real world, it doesn't work that way. You know, you can do it all, but you can't do it all well. And so I needed to learn to delegate. I had to ask for help. And that's something that in the past I never did. You know, if I had a project, I would just figure out a way for me to get it all done. But then I would be so exhausted and I wouldn't even get the project finished because by the time I did it all, I was too tired to finish what I started. So that was the best experience, was to realize that you can ask for help, and when you ask for help, magic happens. You know, there are so many people out here who are interested in really supporting your vision. And I was too insecure to ask for help before. I didn't think that people were interested in helping my vision. Like, why would you want to support my vision? And through this experience, I learned, like, wow, there are people out here who want to be a part of your journey. And I think that was the lesson that I needed to learn.
The best part about working on this project was working on this project and being able to bring someone's baby, someone's passion to life, and being able to work with this amazing cast and crew.
The best part of the experience was definitely being on set. Just seeing everybody there in their roles, just taking it on. You know, if anybody had a question, everybody's willing to help out. And when you see so many people that are good at what they do and passionate about what they do and willing to help everybody out, you just can't wait to see the final project. Because I was like, man, once we see this film finished, it's going to reflect on all the amazing people that put it together.
One of the best things that happened, I believe, Triana, my wonderful producer, allowed me to be part of the pre-production all the way to the set, and she invited me to be part of the auditions, and I had the best time seeing, we had so many amazing actors, and finding through the time our character and seeing, oh, this person's really good, but not necessarily is the character, and like all into the way of the process of building these characters, I think was my favorite part.
The best part of filming was filming. I loved every aspect of it. I did a 2-year Meisner acting program, and this was the first time that I kind of got to like sink my teeth into something and make it come to life as an actress, having went through some training and learned some things. So it was really fun. Seeing how people set up different shots, seeing how different angles matter, watching kind of the behind the scenes, watching the directing aspect, and seeing how it's like a set is like a kind of a well-oiled machine, and every single part is equally as important, because you can have literally the best scene and you just put your best foot forward during that scene, and then like there was some random pencil in frame and now we have to redo the scene. So every single aspect of filming is important. You got to be on your P's and Q's the entire time.
So what I like the most about the project is I like once we're nearing completion, only because I that way everything comes together and I can see the grand vision. Everything becomes realized, and you can see how the audio brings emotion and cadence and timing to the scenes. Sometimes when I come in early on in the process and I only have a script to look at, sometimes I just can't really wrap my head around the project, what it's about, things like that. And so a lot of it is just kind of like alien to me, up until there's a certain point where things start to come together, and then you can see the vision, you can see the cadence, you get more in the head of the filmmaker. You almost become one with them, so you're on the same page of what they want and what they're looking for you to deliver to them. And it makes it all easier, versus at the beginning when you just don't know, like you just don't really know what's going on, so you kind of have to catch up.
The most difficult part about this experience was letting go of perfection. It was a 3-month workshop. I had 6 minutes to write a script, and I wanted to really expand on the character, but I didn't really have the time to do so, but I still had to complete the project. And completing the project is really, really difficult because you can come up with ideas. I have ideas for days, but it's one thing to have an idea. It's another thing to execute the idea. And on top of that, I wasn't working. Where was my budget coming from? So in the midst of me, putting this film together, I was also looking for jobs. I was also going on interviews. I was also, writing cover letters, and it was really hard to stay focused. There was so many times that I could have given up because honestly, this project was for me. It wasn't like I had a deadline. It wasn't like I had people who were waiting on me. I had to do this for myself, so I had to sit with myself and say, hey, Triana, like, you got to get this done. No matter if you think it's good or not, you gotta get the project completed. And then not only complete the project, but also sharing it, and yeah, I'm an artist and I am sensitive about my shit. So I had to let go of my insecurities and share it with the world. And that was difficult for me.
The most difficult part of the experience was definitely my job. Yes. Because as assistant director, you have to make sure everybody's punctual, make sure everybody's at their job, make sure everybody's doing their job, make sure everybody needs what they have to do their job. And I'm not really good at any one of those. So it was definitely a learning experience, but thankful for me, I had a crew that was very easygoing and experienced, so they helped me out a lot. So because of that, it could have gone a lot worse, and it was very challenging, but it worked out.
The most difficult part, even though it's a super easy task, was managing and finding the time to schedule all the auditions with different people, different schedules, day and night. So even though super simple, it was one of the most difficult tasks to do it.
The most difficult, I would say, I didn't get too much sleep the night before filming. I was really excited that I booked my first lead role, but I had to act like I had got all the sleep in the world. So in the background, I'm chugging energy drinks and coffee and then being super jittery, but trying not to appear jittery on camera. That was a trial, but I enjoyed it. I mean, it was a long day, but it was so much fun, and I just wouldn't trade this experience for anything.
I would say the most difficult part was adding in things that weren't originally written in, and I am terrible at improv. Okay, so I was like, what's going on? But it worked out.
My word of advice is, if there's something out there that interests you, even if you're hesitant, just say yes. You're going to get an incredible experience out of it, and you're going to learn one of two things. Either you're glad you did it, or you realize it was never for you.
My word of advice would be to never stop chasing your passion. It's never too late.
I would say my mantra, or the best piece of advice that I could give, is to don't let the fear of striking out keep you from playing the game. That is definitely a mantra of mine, because everything that you want in life is on the other side of fear. So if you're brave enough to just do the thing, whether you're good at it or not, at the end of the day, the more times you do anything, the better you'll get.
I would say that one of my personal mantras, I have a few, but one of my personal mantras I like is to always bring your best face forward. And what that means is that it's always exciting to be a creative and to work on projects. However, not everyone will understand an incomplete project. So whenever you're showing your work to people, unless it's someone you need to hire or that you need them to work on your project, you should always be showing finished products. You should never set up a demo you're going to show someone, oh, but this isn't complete, oh, the graphics are going to come in, and oh, we don't have the animation done yet. But here's the video, because people aren't going to understand it. They're not in your head. And they're going to judge it. They're going to judge it by what you gave them to look at. So I always say, bring your best face forward, is that you should only be showing and sharing projects that you've completed, or and projects that you really love and stand behind. So if you do that, then other people will get excited about your projects as well. Not incomplete, half-finished projects.
Now, you have an amazing mantra in the film, one door shuts, another door opens. Do you have any other words of advice that you use?
Yeah, word of advice is to keep going. Do the work, and don't allow lack of resources to stop you from completing the goals and going through with your vision. For me, I look back at all the times that I just didn't finish, or I quit because I didn't think I was good enough. And now I'm like, wow, if I just kept going, I can't even imagine where I would be now. So keep going, and you'd be surprised, who you meet on that journey once you decide to keep going and not stop, and share those experiences, because there are people who want to be on that journey with you.
And I think a word of advice that I would give is have fun, keep it light, do your best, always, no matter how small it is. Don't stress with you cannot control, and have fun, because that's so important too. Enjoy yourself.
All in all, throughout the pre-production, the production, the post-production, I would not trade this experience for the world. It was one of the best experiences I've ever done in my life, and I hope to do it again. And I want to thank every single person who was a part of making this story come to life. You know, I mean, everybody who was a part of the crew, all the actors. I mean, I could not have done this without any of you. And I hope that I, in some way, contributed to your vision and to your goals for your life. And I hope that we all can work together again soon. But this was an amazing experience, and I recommend anyone doing it. You know, if you feel like there's a story that sits close to you, you know, write the script, you know, and find the crew, and trust me, you will find them. But overall, great experience, and look forward to doing it again. I am working on upcoming projects. I am working on developing my own creative brand agency, and I'm also working on a relationship series that captures dynamic relationships and unpopular topics on consent and commitment and religion and family matters. So, really excited about the projects that I have coming up.
It's a wrap.